lot of you hanging on. We'll go right to the phone calls. First up is Rhonda. She's listening in Oak Harbor, Washington, Sirius XM 131. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Listen, I just have a question about a term that I heard someone use in relationship to God that just kind of took me aback because I've never heard it used that way before. And other people, then I've heard them say a different kind of a way of saying it, but, very similar. And that is referring to God as Daddy. And I understand that in the Bible, Abba means dad or father, I thought, but some people say daddy or whatever. But I've actually heard people refer to him as their sky daddy, and they do it in such a way that it seems a little disrespectful to me, and it seems to me and other people that I've spoke with, it seems to take the respect that God obviously deserves and just his position, whatever. I don't know how to really word it properly, but it just takes something away from it. And, I've always referred to him as God or, my Father in heaven, but to refer to him as Daddy, and especially in some of the ways I've heard it prayed or said, it just doesn't seem right. And I've heard other people say, well, wow, to me, that term, you're putting him on the same level because I call my dad Daddy. So you're putting him on the same level as my dad, and that didn't make sense. And I've actually heard one girl says, there's also terms that's kind of sexually related to that word, and it just seems to take away the respect for God that I think it should be there when you're praying or when you're referring to him. And I don't know if I'm seeing it wrong, and if it's a proper term, and I've just missed this all my 50 years or what. But anyway, that was my question.
Sure.
Because I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, and a very good question. I appreciate the sensitivity that you're expressing because, on the one hand, it is true that we have come into intimacy with the living Lord of the universe, the one who spoke and the galaxies leapt into existence. On the other hand, there has to be a reverential awe for the Lord, and that reverential awe comes from knowing who God is. The more you learn about God, the more reverential awe that you have for God. You think about Isaiah, who was the holiest man in Israel. He gets a glimpse of the God who created all things, and he comes undone. Because he sees his utter depravity in light of God's glorious majesty, his all-encompassing goodness, his omnipotence, his omniscience, his omnipresence. So I think the thing that you're referring to in the prologue to the question is very important. We need to keep a balance between recognizing that we have become partakers of the divine nature, as Peter puts it, and the fact that God is altogether other. And so I think that balance needs to be taken into consideration, and some people stray into one excess or the other. So all they talk about is daddy or papa. They say it over and over again, and I think there's a lack of balance there, and the balance is very, very necessary. It is true that Paul writes, because you are sons, God has sent forth the Spirit of His Son into your hearts, crying out, Abba, Father. And so the intimacy is communicated there, but the reverence and respect that you clearly underscored needs to be there as well.